Welcome to part 3 of the Xiana Fairchild case at Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. As a reminder, topics may be triggering. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. People mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. A December 15, 1999, Contra Costa Times article by Christy Belcamino describes Stephanie telling her about the last time she saw Xiana. 6 months prior to disappearing, she was getting on an airplane with her maternal great-grandmother, crying and saying, "Bye, Mommy," to Stephanie. Christy Belcamino, a former reporter with the Contra Costa Times, co-wrote Letters from a Serial Killer with Xiana's real mommy, Stephanie Kahalekulu, which was a fantastic resource on this case, and the Mitzi Sanchez case, which I'm also going to release an episode on. This almost made me cry, and it hit a little too close to home because since I was 3 to 6 months old up until my 5th birthday, I was raised in Mexico by my maternal grandmother, who I consider my real mommy. My birth mother also called her and said she was ready to have me. And despite the heartbreak this caused my abuelita and I, my abuelita put up a fight that she ultimately lost. I came to the United States not knowing a lick of English. Actually, I did know how to say one thing: my eyes are blue. It's not every day you see a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, full-blooded Mexican, but we do exist. And I remember not liking any of the food here. I did not like living here. I would cry for hours begging my mom, my birth mother, to send me back to my real mommy. And I will never forget how I could not recognize the smell of my birth mother like I would my real mommy. It did not smell like my mommy because she was not my mommy, and probably never will be. However hard this pill is to swallow, for myself, it's taken a lot of years of groundbreaking therapy, medication to come to terms with this myself. I was taken from the safety of everything I knew to a country with a new mother and a stepfather who would come to abuse me for over a decade. And sometimes the best place for a child is not with their birth parents, and that's okay. Xiana was not at the place that was in the best interest for her, and I was not at the place that was in the best interest for me, but the world failed us, and in comparison to Xiana's fate, I feel rich. So yeah. Is it normal for mayors to say how much it's costing the city to investigate an active missing child case? A Contra Costa Times article dated December 31st, 1999 says that Mayor Anthony J. Antoli told the public and reporters that it was costing Vallejo $7,250 a day to investigate her case, and from December 9th through December 26th, Vallejo spent $366,000 out of their general fund for police overtime and other related costs. In early December of 1999, the reward for information leading up to Xiana was $5,000. By December 14, 1999, it doubled to $10,000. By December 20th, 1999, it was up to $11,000. On December 20th of 2000, the then governor of California, Gary Davis, pledged $50,000, bringing the total amount to $61,000. Then, on January 27th of 1999, thanks to Xiana's church family in Honolulu, the reward grew to $75,000. And despite the massive efforts, this still was a big difference to the $265 reward in the Polly Klaas case of 1993, which I've covered, by the way, if you want to scroll back to see that episode. And as cutthroat as the media frenzy was in the 90s and early 2000s, I have to agree with the tone of the December 14th, 1999 Sacramento Bee article that states as follows, and I quote, "The question is, under what circumstances should a 7-year-old child be left at a bus stop alone? You may live in a tranquil farming valley or in the grittiest, toughest part of town. You may be running from one job to another or may be sick and sleeping in. Either way, the answer to the question is the same in my book. Never. Leaving a child at a bus stop or anywhere alone is not safe to do ever." Unquote. A December 18th San Francisco Chronicle article states and gave a sad picture of grieving Antoinette, warning the public not to let their kids walk alone to the bus or school. She said, and I quote, "When she comes home, I'm never letting her out of my sight." Unquote. Sadly, that day would not come. On January 30th of 2000, a Contra Costa Times article reports that a week before Xiana went missing, neighbors heard Antoinette yell, and I quote, "No, not my baby," unquote. In August of 2000, a federal grand jury in Sacramento subpoenaed 13 witnesses to testify in Xiana's case. This included Antoinette Robinson, Robert Bobby Turnbow, Stephanie Kahalekulu, Diane Raimundo, Nico Carter, and Eddie Fox. Whether the parents gave you bad vibes or not, and when Bobby told the Mercury News that, and I quote, "The press has to stop looking at us and start looking for Xiana," unquote, he turned out to be right. Her skull was found 14 months later. This is not her skull. This is just something that would look like it. On January 19th, 2001, a construction worker driving on Soda Spring Road in the Santa Cruz Mountains saw something that appeared to be a rock 2 feet away from the road. DNA evidence taken from Xiana's toothbrush and dental records confirmed the skull belonged to Xiana Lachey Kapuali'i Fairchild. Antoinette met Bobby at a cab company where she worked as a cab driver while Bobby was a mechanic. A man named Curtis Dean Anderson also worked at Vallejo City Cab. Go to part 3.